Increasing domestic fish production creates more jobs for Nigerians.
Policy on fishery in the offing as federal government creates opportunities for youth engagement. How is Nigeria handling outbreak of yellow fever? Health correspondent has an update.
As a committee, we are working hard. We are sponsoring a bill that seeks to amend the police trust fund to read as policing trust fund.
Budget defense. House of Representatives makes case for NDLEA status. Hello and welcome to the Network News, reaching you live from our network studio in Abuja. I am Kenan Ima Abodike. Adeola will be joining us from Lagos and Zimrate will be joining us from Jos. Thanks for staying with us. In furtherance of his strategic engagement with critical stakeholders towards resolving issues affecting the major economic sectors, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to some members of his cabinet to chart the best way forward. The latest were the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meetings were held behind closed doors.
Addressing journalists after his engagement with President Muhammadu Buhari, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, explained that with the nation's crude oil production level now at 1.4 million barrels per day and the product not selling at an optimal rate, it is virtually impossible for government to subsidize.
I am telling you, if Mr. President could have continued with subsidy, he would have. But when you look at the facts before us, it is not possible. And of course, we are seeing some of the effects, but I believe that at this point, we are still trying to cross the first bump. We will get used to it as Nigerians. If government were to continue with subsidy, it means, for example, at some point that we may not even have money after subsidizing petrol to pay salaries. We are very aware that this will result in some increase, but when our earnings begin to improve, you will begin to see the benefits of what this government has done.
The minister therefore pleaded with Nigerians to reason with the federal government as it strives towards sustaining efforts at making the oil and gas sector contribute more significantly and positively to the nation's economic well-being.
And we have also now introduced the alternative fuel, which is gas, which will be cheaper. Every effort is on to ensure that the refineries come back on stream. And we have always explained that with deregulation, it will become easier because these refineries will become commercially viable.
Mr. Timothy Silva also explained that agreements reached with the organized labor, especially as regards palliatives, are being faithfully implemented.
For example, the vehicles have been ordered. We are bringing in gas-fired buses, and we believe that those buses will soon arrive. We are already taking delivery of a few of them, and we are going to roll out the whole process on the 30th of November. So a lot is being done. The government is quite mindful of the fact that this is going to impact a lot, and it was a robust discussion with labor.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, on his part, updated President Buhari on the ongoing talks with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, and the Association of Senior Civil Servants in the university system towards the restoration of normalcy.
We have some gray areas to clear, and we'll meet sometime this week. I'm waiting for one or two reports before I communicate a date to them. The major report is the report from the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, as per the system developed by ASU, which the government sent to them for integrity tests. Thereafter, we go to the hardware. But the big issue is who will provide the hardware? Who? ASU, do they have the finances to do so? Have government budgeted for it even now, as we speak? So that one is a major problem. But it's work in progress.
Dr. Chris Ngige said, contrary to insinuations in some quarters, 6 out of the 9 points demand by ASU in particular have been resolved. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Government of Lagos State and some members of the organized private sector are putting heads together towards rebuilding the state after the damage done to public infrastructure and private businesses during the NSAS unrest. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the event says the state and indeed the nation will come out stronger from the crisis. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It's the worst destruction that has ever happened to the state in history. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says as he recounts the colossal loss suffered during the protests. The destruction of public infrastructure and businesses, private buildings were also not spared by those described as hoodlums that the Vice President observes hijacked a genuine cause of the youth.
So we saw what can happen when the restraints of law and order are loosed.
We will bounce back, says Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, describing the state as the economic base of the country and with a large population. The governor requests for a special status to be conferred on the state by the National Assembly.
Recent large-scale destruction of property across the state, the basis for Lagos deserving a special consideration and an external assistance, has assumed an unparalleled urgency and significance.
In an effort to support the government at enhancing the security of our nation, the COVID Alliance has committed to the rehabilitation and rebuilding of all the 44 police stations that were damaged as a result of the unrest.
We will be our brother's keepers, and we will do what we need to do for Lagos State and for the rest of the country.
Let me assure you, Lagos will rise again. Thank you.
The progress of the state is a joint task. This is the mantra of Lagos State and a 7-man board of trustees to oversee the rebuilt Lagos Trust Fund was inaugurated. Among the many inscriptions we have in this hall, there's a particular one that really caught my attention. And it reads, "Your pride for your country should not come after your country becomes great. Your country becomes great because of your pride in it." And this sums it up. From Lagos, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In agriculture, the federal government is molding a new policy that will reshape the country's fish industry and create a platform for youth engagement. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammadu Sabo Nanono, in a message at a national conference on fisheries, says the government initiative will also assist in checking smuggling, illegal and unregulated fishing. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
The global fish business presently stood at over $200 billion, with millions of jobs being created at its value chain. Even though Nigeria has a fish demand deficit of more than 2 million tons annually, the country, however, remains the largest producer of catfish in Africa. To this end, the new policy being proposed by the federal government is to provide enabling environment for fish business to thrive and create job opportunity for youths.
Towards increasing domestic fish production, create more jobs for Nigerians, narrow down the wide gap between fish demand and supply, reduce poverty, hunger, and malnutrition, and also reduce fish importation.
Before 2005, our production was less, but what do we do now? There's a thing we put in place, we call it backward integration. All the fish importers to Nigeria, we are reducing the allocation. You must have a farm, so when you are exporting, for instance now, if you are bringing in 100 kilograms of fish, by next year we give allocation for 80, but we're expecting the farm you have to be expanding.
This is to be achieved in partnership with Fisheries Society of Nigeria, community and traditional institutions nationwide. Federal government and partners in fish business will facilitate the construction of fish house in Abuja that will serve as one-stop shop for investors. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Sustaining critical support for effective delivery of health services across the country is guiding government interventions in building capacity of professionals in the health sector. Minister of Health Dr. Osagie Ehanire affirmed commitment of government at the inauguration of the Governing Board of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
At trying times for the healthcare delivery system in the country with the threat of a second wave of COVID-19, the Nursing and Midwifery Council being inaugurated here by the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, is expected not only to work towards curtailing the pandemic, but also maternal and infant mortality, functional health system, and adequate funding.
With the 200th birthday anniversary of Florence Nightingale, certainly fulfilled the desire of millions of members of these professions for a global platform to recognize their sacrifice and to reposition the profession of nursing for greater heights.
The mandate of the council includes setting agenda for government to assess and implement policies towards the growth of the health sector.
A new board will take the council to greater heights with the registrar and his management.
They are all prepared, and already they have done excellently in fighting the COVID in the last phase, and I want to assure you they are prepared for that second phase.
21 members of the Governing Board of Management of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria are full of hope in entrenching best global standards in line with the mandate of regulating activities of the profession for safe nursing care across the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Following the confirmation of the outbreak of yellow fever in 3 states comprising Delta, Enugu and Bauchi, a multi-agency yellow technical working group led by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has been coordinating yellow fever prevention, preparedness and response activities. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah brings us up to speed with details of happenings around the current yellow fever outbreak in parts of the country.
Yellow fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic disease transmitted by an infected Aedes aegypti mosquito, which bites both in the daytime and at night, and is endemic in Africa, Central and South America. The yellow in the name refers to the jaundice that affects some patients. Other symptoms include fever, headache, muscle pain, nausea, vomiting, and fatigue. On the 1st, 2nd, and 8th of this month, clusters of cases and deaths were reported to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control by the state epidemiologists of Delta, Enugu, and Bauchi, respectively.
So far, in the Delta, we have 99 suspected cases. Of these 99 suspected cases, 6 were confirmed to be yellow fever, and unfortunately we lost 36 persons. Also in Enugu, we have 80 suspected cases, of which 5 confirmed. There too, unfortunately, we lost 37 to a disease suspected to be yellow fever in those people. In Abuja as well, we have 78 suspected cases. We've confirmed 8, and also we have lost 8 persons.
Yellow fever is
multilateral organizations as the world fights an unseen enemy in COVID-19. Bangladesh acknowledges Nigeria's modest efforts in containing the pandemic against all odds. Hence, this symbolic donation of made in Bangladesh personal protective equipment to affirm solidarity with Nigeria.
Both Nigeria and Bangladesh are fighting along with other countries, and I think this event will bring us closer as we fight the pandemic globally.
Nigeria views the gesture of solidarity from Bangladesh as a moral booster in the quest to defeat COVID-19.
This gesture cannot be taken lightly, particularly considering the fact that the entire world is being confronted with a second resurgence of this virus. And I want you to relate it back to your government, that Nigeria remains eternally grateful to the people and government of Bangladesh that have shown tremendous goodwill and support in our quest to deal with this COVID-19 pandemic.
The two nations pledged mutual assistance towards equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines whenever they are approved. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the name of the new Mauritanian ambassador to Nigeria, who presented his letter of credence to President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday, 12 November 2020, is His Excellency Amedi Kamara, not Mr. Ba Abderrahmani, who was the immediate past ambassador of that country to Nigeria. Now, First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has emphasized the need for Nigerian women to remain key stakeholders towards the promotion of good hygiene in the society and generally maintaining a healthy lifestyle. The First Lady said this in a message during the distribution of sanitary equipment to women and children in some selected hospitals of Lagos State. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
Maintaining a healthy society for improved living conditions, particularly amongst women and children, is the front burner of the mission of the Aisha Buhari Foundation and her Future Assured program. Team Future Assured has paid a visit to Lagos as part of its humanitarian gesture towards supporting women, youth and children. The delegation headed by the Special Assistant to the President on Event Management in the office of the First Lady, Zainab Ikas Kazim, was conducted around various hospitals within Lagos Island, one of the areas identified with high concentration of women and children in the state. The team visited Onikon Health Center, Lagos Island Maternity Hospital, as well as Massey Street Children's Hospital for door-to-door distribution of the items.
I'm here on behalf of the First Lady of Nigeria, and to also give you hygiene palliatives that you can use for yourselves and for your children.
On behalf of my sister, Dr. Mrs. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, I would like to thank our mother, Her Excellency, the wife of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for her kind gesture in donating these babies' products to the children and to the mothers.
And it goes a long way in helping them and showing that the government cares for the children and for the parents that are here.
The First Lady remains committed in championing the cause of women and children in Nigeria, urging all stakeholders to follow suit. In Lagos, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
We pause now for some... Welcome back as we now go to the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has held a meeting with security agencies over the breach of national security during the NSAS protest. Addressing the meeting before it went into closed door, the Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wase, said the essence is to investigate the security breach experienced during the protest to ensure justice is served to all those affected.
Monos nation. This is the essence of the committee. And I think with this is our first meeting that we're addressing. We are going to take input from the various service chiefs.
Meanwhile, the Chairman, House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Buba, has inaugurated two subcommittees to investigate finances of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the state of liabilities at foreign missions. Bridging the current funding gap in the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is a preoccupation of the House of Representatives. This is to assist the agency attain its mandate of curbing youth restiveness and security challenges, as well as situations confirmed to be the consequence of drug abuse. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that this came up when the agency appeared for the budget defense.
With a budget proposal of 12.68 billion naira for 2021, the chairman of NDLEA says the agency is challenged considering the cost of surveillance, arrest and prosecution, in addition to the dynamics of drug war in Nigeria.
Prior to now, the nation was perceived as a drug trafficking and user nation, but this trend has dramatically changed to include illicit drug manufacturing.
The House Committee on Narcotics made known efforts to include the agency among beneficiaries of the Police Trust Fund.
We are sponsoring a bill that seeks to amend the Police Trust Fund to read as Policing Trust Fund. The intention is to make the NTA, which is originally a policing agency, to benefit from the funds and so be recognized as a security organization.
The issue of inadequate funding was also highlighted when bodies under the purview of the House Committee on Judiciary appeared for budget defense.
Why decrease the allocation of the Supreme Court now that the number of justices of the Supreme Court has increased?
The only thing we saw was the envelope ceiling given to us. So no room for making presentation.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on FCT Judiciary has noted the handicap of the justice dispensation arm of the federal capital.
The grey areas that were pointed out by these honorable members of this committee should be looked into holistically, because we have only one objective, which is nation building.
The committee covers courts under the jurisdiction of the Federal Capital Administration. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In security matters, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafayette Dole has inflicted heavy casualties on Boko Haram terrorists in the Sambisa Forest area of Borno State. A statement by Defense Media Coordinator Major General John Enenche indicates that this feat was achieved through multiple airstrikes executed on 14th November 2020 at two locations, Gobara, as well as staging aerials to launch attacks. Consequently, the ATF dispatched appropriate force packages of Nigerian Air Force NAF attack aircraft to engage the target areas. Several Boko Haram terrorists were spotted under the defense vegetation of the locations as the NAF jets took turns in attacking the target, neutralizing some of them. The armed forces of Nigeria will not relent until all enemies of the nation are neutralized and normalcy is restored to all troubled zones. Talking politics now, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says more notable politicians, including 7 and former state governors in the southeast, are ready to join the All Progressives Congress. Correspondent Salihu Abdullahi Wanara reports that Governor Uzodinma disclosed this at the end of a closed-door engagement with his Yobe State counterpart, who is the chairman, APC caretaker and the Extraordinary National Convention and Planning Committee, Mai Malabuni, at the party's National Secretariat, Abuja. Governor Uzodinma says Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi is the first on the list among those expected from the opposition People's Democratic Party to the APC.
One of our best will be joining the party, and this is the governor of Ebonyi State. Of course, I will be very glad, and it will be my joy to welcome a governor and more governors, not only him. We are still talking to more governors to join, and the APC is the ruling party. And for the interest of national integration and cohesion, Imo and the Southeast indeed needs to become part and parcel of the national ruling party.
He also expressed confidence that the APC will present a credible candidate ahead of the forthcoming Imo North senatorial by-election and work towards success. Now, Gombe State Governor Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya comes to aid of a man that trekked from Gombe to Abuja to celebrate President Muhammadu Buhari's victory in the 2019 presidential election, who is suffering from limb pain. Amina Baba Suleiman has the report.
Abuja is among the millions of Nigerians that support and identified with President Muhammadu Buhari when he won his election and re-election in 2015 and 2019. He trekked from Duku local government in Gombe State to Abuja, covering more than 900 kilometers in solidarity with his president after being declared winner of 2019 general election.
I am so happy and I thank the government for their support.
Duku was not abandoned as being insinuated in the social media. His state government has taken care of his medical bills and is now supported a car and cash.
Such people naturally cannot be neglected, because the truth of the matter is he has shown patriotism, he has shown support, and he has shown solidarity. And as a result, we reciprocate that gesture by first taking him to hospital to make sure we attend to all his physical health problems. So as far as we are concerned, no effort or no contribution will go unrewarded as far as APC and this government is concerned.
Dahiru says he has no regret for his action in supporting President Muhammadu Buhari, as he appreciates his state governor and all others who support him. In Abuja, Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
Lagos is our first port of call, and Adeola will be our guide.
Thank you, Kenny. The continued absence of law enforcement agents in Lagos Metropolis has left the residents in constant fear and apprehension. Annie Daniels, who was recently attacked by some hoodlums, reports that the earnest wish of the residents is for the return of security agents to the state.
From Abuja all the way to Victoria Island, Surulere, Ikorodu Road, in fact, all over the city of Lagos, the story is the same: increase in crime and criminality.
Two boys came to my shop and they came with knife. So, they are trying to take what they want to take, but lucky to me, I was lucky I have to escape.
They will knock on your car. Just tap on your car like this. If you don't open, they'll just break it and collect whatever they want to. And people will be around. Nobody. You just mind your business.
If you go to Lagos, you see this street and that street fighting each other, using guns, using cutlass, using like. Even now, you can come out from your house by 6 a.m.
Bus stops and pedestrian bridges like this one here in Obanikoro has become a safe haven for criminals who operate unhindered. no thanks to the absence of law enforcement agents on our roads and streets. These criminals, according to these respondents, operate at every hour of the day and night.
Like this, our shop now, God forbid, they can just come at any time and decide they want to come and rob. So without seeing police at our environment is very, very risky for us.
It's not safe. That's why I said maybe government will help, maybe in putting lights to make the place to lighten the place.
The police stations that were before now a beehive were burnt during the recent violence and have remained deserted, leaving citizens to their fate.
It means that when there is a crime, you don't have anybody to talk to. And when there's a crime and nobody can stop them, then the violence will increase.
While Lagos residents look forward to the return of law enforcement agents to the metropolis, they also wish their dream of having a competent community policing will be actualized. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Now, simply put, tolerance commands respect of people, acceptance and appreciation irrespective of color, language, religion and belief. November 16 is observed every year as the International Day for Tolerance. In this report, Lynn Leneke examines the significance of the day and the need to tolerate people across board as well as encourage world peace.
One thing that is common in every human setting is people having differences. These differences can transform into conflicts if not properly managed. That is why the United Nations General Assembly in 1996 proclaimed the International Day of Tolerance Resolution 5195 to promote tolerance among people. This day has been set aside to foster mutual understanding and faith in human rights, promote equal opportunities among cultures and people across the world.
Tolerance and, in fact, courtesy is the basis of civilized living, is a part of civilized norms, and but it comes with knowledge of what the other viewpoint is and what your own viewpoint is, an organic understanding of both viewpoints, such that you don't feel threatened by the views of others.
We must not always wait for the government to provide solutions where there is an escalation of intolerance. And we must also return back to the family values that we normally have.
Education plays a major role in preventing intolerance among human beings as it widens people's understanding on the importance of solidarity among ethnic, social, and cultural groups.
We want to see a stronger elements from the different ministries in terms of promoting tolerance, promoting the advantages that each geopolitical zone has, but also how we can harness these qualities closer, how we can be stronger as a country.
We need to get good lessons in toleration, in tolerance, and in living together in a multicultural setting, because it's not a homogeneous setting, it's a heterogeneous setting, and we have to understand that.
The theme for this year, Learning for People, Planet, Prosperity, and Peace, highlights the integrated nature of education, its humanistic aims, as well as centrality to collective development ambitions. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News. Well, it's time for us to go on another break. The news will continue thereafter.
Participants at a criminal law review conference have said that only a sincere pursuit of the rule of law at all levels of the Nigerian society can improve the quality of the nation's democracy. They say the attitude of selective application of the rule of law would not augur well for the nation's development. Femi Okewo has the details.
At every twist of event, every Nigerian seems to want the rule of law applied, but most often when he is the weaker one. When he is at an advantage, he just wants to have his way. But at the opening of the 3rd Annual Nigerian Criminal Law Review Conference holding in Abuja, law experts said there should be no such thing as the selective application of the rule of law. It should cut across all strata of the society and be applied always. These contributions came in the light of recent happenings in Nigeria, which the legal experts noted have affected the nation's criminal justice system. Keynote speaker at the event, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State called for even-handedness in the running of the criminal justice system of the nation.
Everybody has a role to play. And when they see that people can come up with that, to say, no, we cannot do this, you will see that they have no other option but to queue.
The conference, which runs for a week, will examine development within the last 12 months in Nigeria and analyze how they have affected the nation's criminal justice and procedures.
This conference will review bills passed and assented to by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that impact extensively on the criminal justice system, such as the Correctional Service Act, the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Nigeria Police Act 2020.
Organized by the Rule of Law Development Foundation, this is the third edition of the annual conference. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The police have been ordered to produce one confidence leader, a victim of alleged unlawful arrest and enforced disappearance since November 2019 on the 19th of November, before the National Human Rights Independent Investigative Panel on Human Rights Violations by the defunct SARS and other units of the Nigerian Police Force. Chairman of the panel and former Justice of the Supreme Court, Suleiman Galadima, gave the order at the panel's hearing in Abuja. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chimuba has more.
Whereabouts of confidence leader arrested since 1st of November for undisclosed reasons is still unknown, even with the order of Rivers State High Court to release him. But what is mind-boggling is that money is constantly being withdrawn from his bank account linked to his brother's email. The panel had 3 cases of alleged threat to life, extrajudicial killings, and enforced disappearance of confidence leader. Assistant Inspector of Police David Ahmed Agbo from Akwa Ibom State Police Command is said to have effected the arrest of Lira, whose whereabouts remains unknown 1 year after. His wife, a young nursing mother, was also at the hearing.
September 2019. The ASP David Ahmed Agbo met me, demanding 3 million naira. That was the balance I was supposed to pay to him. That he wanted to settle his office in his Oga in Abuja.
The first to 5th respondents are to be served with fresh hearing notice, with the order that they produce the missing Edward Domsira Lira on that day.
Commissioner of Police in charge of legal, Enemba Asoromo, requested for adjournment to enable him locate the indicted officers, some of whom he said have either retired or dismissed from service. While granting the request, the chairman
Hababan Kanti reports.
Amos Wingak and Moses Azi are residents of Tudunwada community in Jos North Local Government Area, Plateau State. They, like many others in the community, has over the years grappled with the challenge of higher electricity charges due to estimated billing system. The situation has, however, changed with the installation of free meters by the JEDC under the federal government free metering program.
It's a very good thing that is happening till now, because before now we normally have estimated billing and we have not been finding it very easy. So, but with the coming of the meter, I think our problem has been solved. Numerous houses, they normally type light from one and other house, but at least with this meter now, everybody is scared. So now, in fact, we are enjoying the meters.
Under the Just Electricity Distribution Company's franchise, over 88,000 meters have been allocated, 24,000 have been delivered. This, the authority says, will further enhance efficient delivery of electricity to homes.
Government has already intervened. The only thing that we are now soliciting for customers is that once we install these meters, they should ensure that these meters are not tampered with, these meters are not bypassed, and they vent.
Before the installation, the meters are tested for quality assurance. All this is in fulfillment of federal government effort at ensuring Nigerians have access to cheaper power and ending estimated billing in the country. In Jos, Abdulhababankanti, NTA News.
The 3 Division of the Nigerian Army has joined in the campaign towards proper accountability and transparency in public service. This was during a workshop on compliance with assets declaration and code of conduct for officers and soldiers of the division held at the Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rukuba. Caleb Kuchin was there.
The Code of Conduct Bureau is a body mandated by law to establish and maintain high standards of public morality in the conduct of government business. And this is the message the Bureau presented to the officers and soldiers.
The essence of assets declaration is just to ensure that assets acquired by public officers can be fairly attributable to their legitimate income.
Acting General Officer Commanding 3 Division, Brigadier General Musa Madami, underscored the importance of the workshop to the division, noting that it will avail participants the opportunity to examine their assets declaration and ensure compliance.
I want to also sincerely thank the Chief of Officer, Lieutenant General Tina, for approving this workshop to go for personnel of 3 Division of the Army.
In line with the government, the present drive in anti-corruption to ensure that all officers and soldiers in Nigeria are sensitized to act in accordance with the desire of the government.
The workshop is expected to trigger interest and create the willingness by the officers and soldiers to key into the call for all to be accountable and transparent in carrying out government business. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
We'll take another break now, after which the news continues.